We are going to be talking about the mirror body feature. It's a very simple feature to use, and it is very effective. Actually, it saves us tons of time when we're modeling a symmetric part. Basically, all we have to do is model half of the part, and then we can mirror it. And we'll always be able to mirror it with the mirror body feature. To mirror this body, we're going to go to Features, Mirror. The first thing it's asking for is a face or a plane to mirror about. I could select this face, but in this case, I want to keep this mirror feature independent of any other geometry or any other features. This will make it more versatile, so I can roll it forward and roll it back, and it won't matter what features I add or remove. So I'm going to go ahead and select the right plane, which goes down the center of the part. We have an option to mirror features or mirror faces. These are more useful when you're trying to mirror specific geometry only. Most of the time, I use the bodies to mirror. So here we're going to select this body. Some of the other options we have are to merge solids. This will merge the two bodies together. We have a similar option if we were to mirror a surface body, which will knit those surfaces together. And then these are preview options. We'll go ahead and accept that and then toggle the view. That was easy enough. Now, let's test how versatile this feature actually is by adding some hybrid features using surface geometry. So now what we're going to do is core out the bottom half of this part using the Cut with Surface feature. I'm first going to roll back the mirror body feature, and then I'm going to generate a surface specifying where I want to cut the part. We'll go to Surfaces, Surface Offset. I'll select this outer face, and we want a wall thickness of 200 thousandths. And we're also going to want it going the other direction. We'll go ahead and accept that. Okay, let's start examining the surface to make sure it's going to be adequate to cut the part with. We'll go ahead and zoom into the bottom here because that's what we're concerned with. Looks like it should almost be there. We'll find out if it's not later, but in the bottom here it's not. We're following a little shallow, so we'll go ahead and extend this surface. To do this, we'll use the Extend Surface tool. I'll select the edge, and then I'll select this Propagate tool to propagate along all the tangent edges. We'll enter a larger value and accept it. Okay, that looks like it's protruding through the part. Now, we don't want to trim the entire body out. We want to stop about halfway up the part. I know that this plane is about where we want to stop, so I'm going to use this plane to trim the surface. But before we do that, I'm going to hide this body so we can see the surface better. I'll just right-click on it and select Hide. Here's our surface, and we're going to want to trim it back to this plane number 5. So I'm going to select that plane and select Trim Surface. I'm going to select Remove Selection and select the part I want to remove, and we'll accept that. Now I'm going to fill in the top of the surface so we can use it to cut the part. To do that, I'm going to use the Filled Surface tool. I'll select the edge I want to fill, and then select the Fix Up Boundary Surface. Preview looks good, so we'll accept it. You can see the edge is still blue on the corner, so it didn't actually knit these two surfaces into one. We'll go back to this Surface Fill tool and select Merge Results. Now you can see it's a black edge. This means it is one surface now. At this point, we're ready to use the Cut with Surface tool, so I'll show the body from the Solid Bodies folder, and we'll insert our Cut with Surface feature. Insert Cut with Surface. Here it's asking which surface we want to use to cut. I'll go ahead and select that here. The arrow looks like it's going the wrong direction, so I'll change the direction for cut and accept it. Okay, it looks like we accomplished what we wanted to. For now, I'm going to go ahead and hide that surface. So some of you more savvy designers might be looking at this and saying, yeah, it looks good, but you could never manufacture it. And yeah, you're right. You couldn't because there's a big undercut caused by this curvature here. So let's address that. This brings me to another hybrid feature I really like to use. It's called Replace Face. First thing we're going to do is generate a surface that will allow for the proper draft in order to get the core out of this part so we could actually mold it. To generate that surface, we're going to create a simple boundary surface. So we'll go to Boundary Surface, toggle our view a little bit, and select from this edge, selecting the profile close to one end, to this edge, selecting a similar location on this profile. And that will create a surface that we could actually mold. We'll go ahead and accept that. Now what we're going to do is replace this face behind it with this surface. So we'll come up here and go to Replace Face. We're going to select this face to replace with this surface. We'll accept that. I'll go ahead and hide that surface. And then I'm going to go down and roll forward our mirror body that we created earlier. As you can see, it propagates with no problems, regardless of the features we created on it. Also, you can see now we're going to have significant draft, and we'll be able to actually manufacture this part. Another thing I want to talk about is, say you've modeled a complete profile of a symmetric part, and now you want to utilize the symmetry to reduce the work you have to do. You can always go back to half of a part. A quick way of doing this is simply by inserting a Cut with Surface feature. We'll go to Insert, Cut with Surface. We'll simply select a plane that cuts the part in half and accept it. This is a quick way to cut your part in half to utilize symmetry. Let's talk about some of the key points in this video about utilizing symmetry to reduce work. The first thing we talked about is how you only have to model half of the part, which reduces work. Then we demonstrated how the mirror body feature will always propagate, regardless of what kind of features are added to the body. Then we were introduced to hybrid modeling by utilizing surfaces as reference geometry on a solid body. Then we demonstrated how we could utilize symmetry at any time during the design process by cutting the part in half. That's all for this session. In the next set of videos, we are going to be talking more about hybrid modeling utilizing surfaces to modify a solid body.